Welcome to VLearn Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 14 of the subject India, earliest times to the 8th century AD, and the chapter is Janapadas and the Mahajanapadas. Topics to be covered are introduction, the Vedic age and the 6th century BC, our sources of information, units of settlement, the Janapada, emergence of new groups, units of settlement, the Mahajanapada and the 16 Mahajanapadas. Introduction. You must have observed this fact that people around you speak the same language. Not only this, the entire region seems to celebrate the same festivals. The people of the entire region tend to have similarities in their marriage customs too. The food they cook will also be similar. How did areas having cultural homogeneity come into existence? The beginnings of this process go back to the emergence of Janapadas. The emergence of Janapadas signified the birth of geography in Indian history. The Vedic age and the 6th century BC. The Janapadas are known from about the 6th century BC. We can say in which the Janapadas of this period are found many changes to concrete shape. Villages, towns and cities were the units where the people lived in a Janapada. When we discussed various aspects of early Vedic and later Vedic society, we did not refer to people living in such varieties of settlement as villages, towns and cities, although they did live in modest settlements. Further, this was a time when kings and monarchs emerged on the stage of history. Our sources of information, the Brahmans refer to a category of Vedic texts which deal with the methods of performing Vedic rituals. Similarly, the Upanishads dealing with philosophical problems are also considered a pan of the Vedic literature. The Vinaya Pitaka dealing with the rules of the order, the Sutta Pitaka, a collection of Buddha's sermons, and the Abhidham Pitaka discussing problems of metaphysics tell us about the preachers, princes, rich, poor and the towns and villages of that period. The Jatakas dealing with the stories of the previous births of the Buddha are a part of the Sutta Pitaka. Units of settlement, the Janapada, that literally meaning the place where the people place their feet, is often referred to in the text of this period. You remember the meaning of Jan. In the Vedic society, it referred to members of a clan. In the early Vedic society, the members of Jan were pastoral groups roaming in search of pastures. However, in the later Vedic phase, the members of Jan took up agriculture and began to settle down. These agricultural settlements were called Janapadas. In the initial phases, these settlements were named after the dominant Kshatriya lineages settled in that area. Gahapati. A Gahapati was a master of an individual household which owned land. A Brahman Gahapati is said to have owned so much of land that he needed 500 plugs to get it cultivated. In the later Vedic society, it was the Viz which performed agricultural activities. Land was jointly owned by the lineage. With the emergence of agricultural society, land became an important form of wealth. As such, the ruling clans of the Kshatriyas and Brahmans brought it under their control. Merchants, it was possibly from the ranks of Gahapatis that an important class of traders emerged, though through the sale of their produce, they built up a certain amount of capital which was used for trading. The word frequently used for trader in the Buddhist sources is Sethi, meaning a person having the best. It shows that the people who dealt with money matters had acquired considerable prestige and power. Ruler and the ruled, combined with developments in the socio-economic field, were changes in the nature of polity in the Mahajanapadas. In the preceding period, the word Raja referred to the chief of a lineage. For example, Ram, whose legends are related to this period, is often referred to as Raghu Kularaja, meaning the one who rules over the Raghu clan. Similarly, Yudhishthira is called Kururaj. They ruled over their lineage, and the notion of a ruler ruling over a territory had not emerged. Units of settlement, the Mahajanapada, the story of Jivaka. The famous physician comes to us from the time of the Buddha. In the city of Rajgraha, there was a prince named Abhay. He saw an abandoned baby on a street. He brought him home and ordered the maid servants to take care of the child. The boy was called Jivaka. When Jivaka grew up, he wondered what he should do for a living. He decided that he would become a physician. In those days, Taxila was a famous center of learning. Jivaka decided to go there to learn medicine. The Mahajanapadas, villages, it used to be a mobile unit of people, and when two grams came together, it led to Sangrama, that is a battle. This was because they were mobile units, and when two hostile gramas met, it led to attempts at snatching away each other's cattle. The villages of the 6th century BC were settlements where people generally pursued agricultural activities. There were various kinds of small and large villages inhabited by a single household or many families. Towns and cities dominated by kings and merchants were at the same time containing a heterogeneous population where the new kinds of settlement which came into existence during this period. They are referred to as Pur, Nigma and Nagara. The differences among these settlements are not clear. They probably refer to the size as well as varying features of the settlements. These towns and cities were larger than the villages. The 16 Mahajanapadas, the Buddhist text Anguttara Nikaya, which is a pan of the Sutta Pitaka, gives the following list of 16 Mahajanapadas in the time of Buddha: Kashi, Kuru, Kosala, Panchala, Ang, Matsya, Matsya, Magad, Sursen. Vajji, Asaka, Malla, Avanti, Chedi, Gandhara, Vatsa, Kamboja. Another Buddhist work, the Mahavastu, gives a similar list of the 16 Mahajanapadas. That was all about Janapadas and Mahajanapadas. These are some of the questions. You have to do it yourself. Question number 1. How have the historians combined the archaeological and literary evidences regarding the material culture in the 6th century BC? Answer in 5 lines. And question number 2. If you were a historian, what inferences would you draw from the story of Jivaka? Write in 100 words. That's all. Thank you. Happy learning. Be learning.